Did you call bank? I call game.
What's good, podcast world, and welcome back to another episode of Charge It to the Game. As always, I'm your host, Rome. Fellas, Big Z and Jay, what's up?
Welcome, another edition.
Yeah, back at it again.
Back at it again, baby. No doubt, man. How y'all feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling Final
good?
Four finally here. Basketball season, trade deadline was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Yeah,
UCLA, too, as far as the tournament. Man.
Ooh. Oh, man. I know how you feel about UCLA. I couldn't remember. Is UCLA a basketball squad for you, or is it a college football squad, Jay?
I used to root for them for football.
Okay.
I used to have two teams, but I dropped them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I feel you, man. Okay. But shoot, man, let's get right into it, fellas. Oh, one more thing before we start, fellas. I got a guy, man. Good guy. I'm in a Facebook group chat. It's called O-Line D-Line Community. There's a gentleman named Jim Gutierrez. His son, Jake Gutierrez, is an offensive lineman. He just finished his freshman football season out in Florida, out in Naples, Florida. Nice, solid offensive lineman, man. Big dude. He's about 6'3", close to 6'4", pushing 260. Young dude. He's, like I said, he just finished his freshman season, going into his sophomore year, which will be next year. He's actually will be competing in the ESPN 300 Elite Underclassmen, combine, man. And that's pretty big. Anybody who knows anything about high school football and high school sports, knowing, being in the ESPN Elite, 300 is a huge deal. So shout out to him. Jake, stay focused, man. We're all rooting for you. Your father's doing his due diligence for you, trying to do the best that he can and supporting you and using all his resources and platforms to, bring more exposure to you. So, anybody that's a scout for any collegiate football program, be on the lookout. Jake Gutierrez out in Florida, underclassman. But fellas, man, so I think this show we're gonna get started and talk a little bit about the AFC North. So consisting of the Baltimore Ravens, Steelers, Cleveland, and then the Bengals. So I guess let's get started. I guess how you guys feeling about? I guess we'll start off with Baltimore, man. I know they had a tough season. They had a solid season. They didn't have a great season. They didn't quite close the show out, man. But they lost to the Buffalo Bills. But I guess how you guys feeling about their season last year and how they closed out?
Man, I mean, it's always the. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to cut straight to it. I kind of not joined the bandwagon, but I got wrapped up in the Lamar Jackson, he's not good enough talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was kind of the primary focus I needed for him to elevate his team, and I think they kind of really, not exposed him, but they shown that if it came down to him throwing, it would be, it would be a problem. So.
Right.
I still like Lamar Jackson. Let me not say that he needs to, I'm not saying that I'm down on him, but we kind of already knew that he's more of an athletic dual threat. But that other side of that dual threat, a.k.a. throwing the ball, definitely needs to be stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I think they ended up on a decent note. That's pretty much it. The Bills is kind of what? Bills is the one that knocked them out, correct? No, it's not. Who knocked out Baltimore back?
Buffalo.
It was Buffalo Bills, right?
Yeah, it was Buffalo, yeah.
I'm about to say they had the line for it. They had a stout line to stop that. So, that's always been the thing. They did it because I know a few Buffalo Bill fans, shout out to my man D, that was scared to go against Tennessee just because there was a matchup-wise. It was a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, it was. Big King Henry, baby.
Yeah, Big King Henry's picking up and throwing people left and right. Them workouts been looking crazy.
You saw him, right? He be going off, boy.
Man, if Big Henry come knocking on my door, he got a problem. You know, I'm gonna have to keep that thing on me. That's a bad man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. So no, I feel like Baltimore's a pretty decent place, given that I don't think the AFC North is as like crazy as it was beforehand. So yeah, I don't think it's too bad.
I feel you, man.
Right.
So I think with Baltimore, they, like I said, they had a tough ending to the season, right? They had a solid year. It wasn't a great year. It wasn't quite Lamar's MVP, season, but it was a solid year. And like you said, they came up short in the playoffs against Buffalo. Man, I hate to say it, and I hate to be one of those guys, with the Lamar Jackson thing. Lamar is going to have to develop as a passer, man. I love Lamar. I love him. I appreciate him. He's got great speed and awareness. He's really just got to come on strong. He has to take that next step, that Josh Allen step. You know what I mean, Jay? Even in the playoffs, you were looking at Josh Allen, his first year or two in the league, he was he's solid. You know what I mean? But Greg Roman, offensive coordinator for Baltimore, they really have to help him out more and don't, hold his hand so much. Let him throw the ball down the field, and stop, just calling these gimmick plays and the read option. It's okay to throw it in there here and there, but as you can see, the league adjusts, to that, the nuances in the NFL. These defensive linemen are just as fast as your quarterback and linebackers. So, he really just has to take that next step. But I also think that the Baltimore Ravens need to help him out and get him a receiver, man. I think
that's true.
Yeah. So, if you look at last year, Marquise Brown, I know he's a young dude, trying to develop in the league. And they had a few other guys. I can't really remember who the other receivers are. You feel me?
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem, man. So, I'm hearing talks about, one of the reasons why AB didn't sign Antonio Brown, is because Baltimore was making a push for him. And it's, if you know anything about NFL, Marquise Brown and Antonio Brown are, I think they're cousins or something. So I think AB might be, he might sign back with the Bucs. He might sign with the Ravens. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know. I like it. If I'm not, I don't think that. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I didn't touch on that, but yeah, they need to give him a little bit more help on the wide receiver side, because I can't remember anyone that he thrown to besides what like you said, Marquise Brown and
Mark Andrews, the tight end. Yeah, they got Big Boyle and they got Mark Andrews. They're tight end loaded. You know what I mean? They got probably the best tight end, group in the league with Mark Andrews and, like you said, Big Boyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hell of a last name.
Big Boyle.
Right, Big Boyle.
Nah, I agree. So yeah, he definitely needs some help. So I kind of figured that too, but like I said, I got wrapped up in the Lamar Jackson hype. I still think he's good, and it wasn't a hype. I just be so pro. I want everyone to do well. So when he was doing it, I was with it. But,
yeah, I feel you, man. I think we're all rooting for Lamar, man. I think Baltimore. I think they got a first round pick. I think they're linking them a lot to the offensive lineman out of Alabama, the center. I just think Baltimore. Why not get a receiver or a playmaker for Lamar? They're loaded. Well, they're not loaded at offensive line, but their offensive line is solid and stout. They're saying that at the 27th pick in the first round, they're gonna select this gentleman out of Alabama, Landon Dickerson, the center. I just think they can. Get them some help, man. Get them another outside the numbers threat rather than being so much in between the numbers.
Yeah. I get that. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We won't have to really touch on it too much, but the defense has always been pretty solid for Baltimore in general, for the whole franchise. So I really wouldn't be worried about that either. Just find Lamar Jackson a little bit more help on a wide receiver end.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, makes him one-dimensional. Very one-dimensional.
No doubt, man. So I guess moving on, man. Let's chat a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals, man. So Cincinnati,
Trash.
Come on now, come on, bro.
Trash.
They're not trash, boy. Come on now.
They're trash.
How so, man?
Joe is nice.
Yeah, Broadway Joe. I mean, come
Broadway
on, Joe Burrow.
That is fine. That's fine. Fine. My man was smoking a cigar when he won the shit for LSU. I was like, oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Big Joe was about that action, man. But before he got hurt last year, he lit the league on fire. Can you hear me? Like, he, touchdowns, yardage. He was out there balling, man. I mean, and this is what the depleted, Cincinnati team. I think a lot of people were hurt. A lot of people were out. And things like that. And he came on strong. I think some of their key additions, under the radar, free agency additions, man. I mean, Trey Hendrickson, who was the defensive end from the New Orleans Saints, they signed him for 4 years, $60 million. He got big money. We'll see if 4 years, $60 million. We'll see if he lives up to the hype, man. It did end up letting Carl Lawson go. So they signed Trey Hendrickson.
I like Carl Lawson, too.
I like him, too. Yeah, I like him, too, man. So they signed Mike Hilton and Z. That's, former cornerback from Pittsburgh to help shore up the secondary.
That's going to be a big loss for the Steelers. Big upgrade for Cincinnati. He was a slot corner, probably one of the best slot corners in the league. He signed with the Steelers 4 years ago as an undrafted free agent. Went from practice squad to starter to, slot corners, borderline starter to an absolutely outstanding player. So he's earned the contract that he got from Cincinnati. He'll make a big difference for them.
Yeah, man. He was a nice corner. And my homeboy D down in Maryland might have something to say about that. His boy Kenny Moore out of the Colts. He might argue with you on that one, man. But yeah. But so they signed him. They got Awuzie, who's another decent corner. William Jackson they let go. AJ Green they let go. But guys, let's chat a little bit about Cincinnati, man. How's their outlook? Looking for the the season, this upcoming season, and their past year they had.
Key for them would be Joe Burrow's return from injury. They need to get an upgrade on the offensive line to protect him. And then they also need some weapons on the outside. They lost A.J. Green. And so really the speedster receiver signed with the Jets, the first-round pick for them as well, who they lost. So they need to get some weapons on the outside. So they may look to draft either probably an offensive lineman or a receiver. Jamar Chase is out there from LSU.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So he has a connection with
LSU.
With Joe
baby.
Burrow. So that's they broke records. Joe Burrow's last year at LSU, winning the national championship, and so that is definitely a possibility. So they're going to have to decide: do they can they get an offensive lineman later in the draft and take the top receiver in Jamar Chase, or do they feel like they want to take one of the top linemen, maybe a Penei Sewell from Oregon, with their top pick, and get a receiver in the second round or third round?
Right. Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, Z pretty much hit everything on the money with that. Last year, their outlook was only Joe Burrow. I was hoping to see the AJ Green connection come back, but now we know he's not currently there. There was a lot of injury during the Bengals, so I'm not gonna say I wasn't watching that closely because I watched to see how Joe Burrow do, and he did absolutely great with. I'm not gonna say nothing, but
he looked good out there.
Minimum talent, he looked fluent. He looked like the man.
He took a beating, and he stood there and took the hits and kept coming. I mean, when you have to go against the defensive fronts of Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Baltimore as a rookie,
that sounds painful.
He's a real one. That's really it.
So and then they had Washington on their schedule. Another stout defensive front. So that was So his comeback is going to be good if they can get him. They did sign Riley Reef, offensive tackle. I believe he's from Minnesota, who's a nice veteran presence as a tackle. So that may lead them to taking Jamar Chase.
I'm not worried about that. I don't think he makes it that long. Well, because when the Bengals pick, what is their pick currently right now?
They're kind of high, man. I think they're like 5th.
Yeah, it's a 5th pick.
The 5th. I don't think he lasts that long.
You don't think he lasts till 5th? I mean, who's ahead of him?
He might now. Now that the quarterbacks are moving up,
that's true.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you got San Francisco that moved up. You know what I mean? The Jets, I don't know. I mean, they got to take the quarterback, right? At first glance, they were talking.
Really?
Yep. So Jets will take a quarterback.
They don't fuck with Sam Darnold. They don't fuck with Sam.
But that's the thing, though. I heard the Sam Darnold's trade stopped. Like, the talking stopped.
It did.
Because the Jets are asking too much.
Exactly.
But they are. Yeah, all word is that they love the quarterback from BYU.
I've been hearing that too.
Yeah, so that's the guy they're looking at number 2, and then Atlanta might take a quarterback too because Matt Ryan is getting up in age.
That's true.
Atlanta may go tight end.
I was looking at that too. That'd be
Kyle
crazy.
Pitts.
Yeah, they may go Kyle Pitts.
Crazy.
And so that would leave Cincinnati with their choice of the tackle or the top receiver.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, since AJ Green left, I see that. But I mean, as far as moving on to this year, I don't really see too much of a threat. My mindset really hasn't changed because most people and most players were injured on the squad, so my mindset is still the same. I'm not really worried about Bengals. Honestly, I've never been worried about Bengals. Honestly, now that I think about it,
stop it, boy, stop.
Since, I don't know when. If you really think about it, jerseys always torch. That's how it always go for some odd reason. That's all. That's it. But Joe Burrow's fire. I'm enjoy watching.
Yeah, and then so they got the quarterback situated. Yeah. That's always the foundation of a team is getting that quarterback position straightened out. And at least you can say, as dysfunctional as they have been, that's a great starting point for Cincinnati. At least they have something to build around with Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think they have something. True. Yeah, like you said, something to build around with Joe Burrow. I mean, like you said, they've shored up a key piece, a key piece that a lot of teams are missing. The quarterback position, Joe Burrow is solid. You got Mixon in the backfield. He's a solid running back, great running back.
Yeah, I like Mixon.
Yeah, I like Mixon too. And then I just think with their pick, man, I understand probably the chemistry between Jamar Chase and Burrow. They might take him, but you really got to think about it. I mean, is there another lineman in the draft that's Penny Sewell is an absolute beast. You know what I mean? I mean, he's a great, tackle. He's probably one of the best in the draft, if not the best. I mean, is there another one? I mean, we saw some of the games last year. I mean, they were. It was like, hike, and then they're right in Joe Burrow's face, right? So they got to get him some help. Like you said, going up against the likes of Pittsburgh with T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward, and then you going against but the Browns are loaded at defense with Myles Garrett, who's probably one of the top 5 pass rushers in the league, and Rankins and a few of these other guys. Their defense is great. And then Baltimore. I mean, they still got Calais Campbell. He's a little older, but he's still doing work on the defensive line.
No, he's still doing work.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they should take offensive line, but I really do think they're probably going to take Jamar Chase, the receiver from LSU, just due to the chemistry and the just the knowledge of them working together at LSU. So
that's true.
See, with the 2 tackles, the top 2 tackles coming in the draft, they're basically extreme opposites. You have Sewell, who didn't play last year, sat out the year, but is a physical freak and is probably the most gifted tackle available. And then you have the tackle out of Northwestern, Rashawn Slater, who is a 3-year starter, who is the most ready to play immediately. Because I remember when they played Ohio State, he shut down Chase from the Washington football team.
Yeah, Chase Young,
and he held him to nothing when Northwestern played Ohio State, and so that's going to be the interesting choice. Do you want to take the one with the crazy upside, or the one you can plug and play day one and can play for you right away?
Yeah, I'm taking day one.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, Cincinnati, they got a lot to be excited about, to be honest. I know. Sure they got some pieces. I mean, we'll see how it shakes out I guess moving on, fellas, let's talk a little bit about Cleveland. Cleveland, and Z, I know it hits you. I'm kind of hitting you where it hurts, man. I mean, if for anybody that doesn't know, Z's a big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, man, and that's why we probably saved them for last on the show. But I mean, Cleveland, they had a solid year, man. I mean, and I'm not a Browns fan, and I don't really like Baker Mayfield, but I gotta respect him. I gotta respect the big home. He did work, in the playoffs and a big offensive line. But some of their key free agency signings, they signed John Johnson, the safety from the Rams, hard hitting safety. He's rangy, does all those things. Troy Hill, another Ram, a cornerback, a veteran CB, man. They signed him, and Tech McKinley, they got a DN out of actually Jay from your team, Vegas.
I have got to interject. Yeah. People got to stop this crazy talk on Cleveland. May I still remind you, as a friendly reminder to everybody, that the Browns are still 24-1 against Ben Roethlisberger. 2 wins, 24 losses, and 1 tie against Ben.
It's a new era, though. See, it's a new era.
All this Browns love, we'll see.
Hey, look, man. Don't shoot the messenger, all right? They finally started to draft right. I can't talk.
Yeah.
So,
all right, go ahead, Jay, man. I know, like you said, I mean, me and you had these arguments off the air, man, about Baker Mayfield, and I still feel the same way I feel about Baker Mayfield. I'll get into it a little bit later, but go ahead. How are you feeling about Cleveland in this upcoming year, and then just based off their, them, actually running over the Steelers in the playoffs?
I thought that's absolutely hilarious. There's not really, I guess there's no reason to hide this, but I think that's like my top 3 hated teams is Dallas, and it's also Pittsburgh. Ooh, shocker. Yeah, but I mean, maybe not hated. That's why they're number 3. I can't hate on Tomlin doing this thing, man. As a brother,
come on, man. You gotta support him,
really
man.
Hate, but I don't really have to like it. All right, but I will say this: I think Cleveland did the right thing, just building. I think they did the right thing building. I think they finally landed on some hits, and whomever is the GM at that point in time is actually doing pretty well. But it is definitely without a doubt that dual running back combination needs to stay.
Right.
That's clearly the success between that and the line and the offensive line. That is, Roman, me and you had a lot of talks about Baker Mayfield. I'm a little bit higher on him, but within reason, right? Yeah. We had conversation. You thought he was absolute garbage at one point in time, which I could see at that point in time he was, and I said, well, he's all right. He's like that middle tier, that middle tier game manager. But the good thing about Baker is he can make highlights when he needs to, and that's always kind of been a difference. So that's where I kind of rate him.
The unbiased view of Cleveland. One thing they did do correct. They hired Andrew Berry as their GM. And
absolutely.
He's from the DC area. Harvard educated, 34 years old. Just a brilliant.
Oh, that's pretty young.
Brilliant mind.
Sheesh.
And so
it is, yeah.
He changed their culture. And so he's made a huge difference. And so we are a DMV based group, and he's definitely just a sharp mind, a young African American, Harvard educated, really sharp, spent time with the Colts during their Super Bowl run when Tony Dungy was there. And that's how he got his start, and went on to the Eagles while Andy Reid was there, and then went to Cleveland as their GM and vice president last year. They hired him last year.
Right.
And replaced the guy they got rid of who went there from Kansas City.
Oh yeah, trash. Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. They absolutely did that change. That's why when I said I'm not exactly sure familiar who the GM was. Now I am. Thank you, Z. And shout out to him being from the DMV. We like to support our own. At least some of us do. But I seen the culture change. I saw it coming,
and when they hired him, it was a unique hire. He's got a master's degree in computer science from Harvard.
Wow.
So
and he's coaching in the NFL. Well, not coaching, but he's a GM in the NFL. Yeah,
yeah,
crazy.
Running a team.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Shout out to the IT minds.
And I mean, he played football at Harvard. So there's his football background.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess.
Say, he's just not coming out a lot.
Yeah, he had some type of football, background and acumen to have, step foot within the building. But as far as Cleveland goes, man, I mean, they had a solid year. They had a great year last year. I'm not even gonna hold you. They had a great year. They had a lot to be proud of. Made the playoffs. Even though they beat Pittsburgh twice. They beat Pittsburgh twice. They beat them to get into the playoffs. I know that Ben Roethlisberger,
Mason Rudolph and our scout team.
Yeah,
Mason Rudolph,
still.
And then they barely won.
Yeah, I mean they won. I mean, a win is a win, man. I mean, give them the credit. They did win, okay, but then they got into the playoffs, though, Z, and they just gouged them. I mean, that big offer. I haven't seen holes like that since. I don't know how. I mean, Jesus.
Wasn't a movie made after that?
Like, bro, I'm sitting there watching the game. Literally, I'm like, don't they got Cam Hayward to it? T.J. Watt. I'm like, are these guys playing or what?
So to it, he didn't play that game. Of course, Bud Dupree was hurt.
Yeah.
And then Highsmith, our backup, he got hurt, and so they replaced him with a practice squad guy, Cassius Marsh, who was overmatched.
Oh, he was horrible. Yeah, he just. I mean, they were just getting bowled over. If you look at the film on that game, they just ran the ball down their throats. They said hike. They ran gut. They ran pitch, outside zone. I mean,
they did well. You can't knock them. I mean, strength of the team, just smash mouth football. That's what wins in playoff time in December, January.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, big offensive line. They got good tight ends. Baker didn't make too many mistakes. Yeah, and that's what carried him to victory that game.
And that was the key. I think with Baker, I mean, I don't think Baker's great. I think Baker's solid, and the head coach of Cleveland did a great job. I mean, actually, the head coach was out that game, right?
Yeah, he was out with COVID.
I'm about to say he was out for COVID.
I mean, they beat them with a shortened coaching staff. I mean, that's the head coach. I mean, that's a huge part. I mean, and they just came out with a great game plan. They ran, and they do what they always do: run, and then they play action out of it, and then guys are wide open. And this is without Odell Beckham. I mean, Odell Beckham is still, we'll see how.
Nah, he may not return. What do you think about that?
Odell? Yeah. They're talking about trading him?
Yes.
To who? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, they are talking about trading him. Yeah, they've been talking about trading him ever since he got injured.
Wow.
And I don't really blame him. Baker doesn't know how to juggle two good receivers.
Mm-hmm. And he has the connection with Jarvis.
Yeah,
it's the big chunk on the salary cap. So.
Oh, okay.
So do you want to? It's a luxury to have another receiver versus getting a corner is probably their biggest need. They need it.
Probably, I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
It's going to be interesting what kind of moves they make because with them it's just tweaking here and there. But if they make the wrong move,
catastrophic.
Yeah, as history told us, Cleveland is not the most consistently winning team.
Nah,
that's correct.
Yeah, not at all. But I mean, like I said, the thing is with Cleveland, they don't have many holes. I mean, they got an inside linebacker problem. I mean, I think they're linking them to this guy with Zane Collins out of Tulsa, and then I also seeing them linking to the defensive end out of Miami. I forgot his name, but number 15 for Miami. He's a solid pass rusher. They're probably looking at him to eat off of from that other side of Myles Garrett. And this is on a loaded defense, a tough defense. They smash mouth football. So Cleveland, I mean, solid year. I mean, we'll be looking for you. You know what I mean? So you got a lot to be proud of. I guess moving on, fellas, let's talk a little bit about Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh they started off red hot, the best team in the NFL, last undefeated team in the league. Sure they came up a little bit short, and then as we were just talking about, had that tough loss in the playoffs. They came back. I mean, I give them credit. They did fight back. Big Ben did fight back. They just came up a little short in the end. So I mean, they signed Big Ben. Well, they not signed him. Big Ben helped them out, restructure their deal. The key loss for them was Bud Dupree, and Looks like they made some signings.
Marquise Pouncey retiring is probably the biggest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Marquise Pouncey. Go ahead, Z.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's the biggest hole they need to replace is Pouncey retiring. So they need to get a center. He's been. I mean, the Steelers in 30 years they've had 3 Hall of Fame centers. So they went from.
Wow, this man said 3.
Yeah. So they went from Mike Webster in the 70s all the way to 1990. Ooh. And then followed him up with Dermontti Dawson, 15-year run as the starting center and Hall of Famer in the Hall of Fame. And then followed him up with Pouncey, who had a 12-year run as the starting center and has a very solid case for Hall of Fame again. And so now the problem is they really don't have anybody in waiting. They signed B.J. Finney, who was Pouncey's backup for 5 years, and then got a big payday from Cincinnati. Left the Steelers, went to Cincinnati for a year, and then they released him, and so the Steelers signed him for cheap and brought him back to Pittsburgh. So he is going to be the plug-in guy, but he's not the long-term answer. They need to get another center. So from my perspective, that's the biggest need. They also probably could add an offensive tackle. Alejandro Villanueva is still a free agent, and nobody has signed him. And so
Alejandro.
That's very telling as to he was the starting tackle for the Steelers.
He's big trash, in other words. Big trash.
And big garbage. Bring a trash can around the back.
So
put him to the corner.
He's up there in age, so they'll need a tackle, and then they will probably add a running back. James Conner, another free agent, still unsigned, still a free agent, and that also tells a story of their struggles.
Yes, sir.
So as they move forward to the draft, those 2 areas are key on offense. On defense, they've had a number of losses, so this is a transition. Steelers got caught in the COVID mess with the salary cap. Salary cap was $192 million. Steelers had budgeted $192 million, but after COVID, NFL dropped it down to $180 million for this year. So the Steelers it was $198 last year. So the Steelers had to cut from $198 to $182. And so that's why they couldn't re-sign a number of their players on defense, because under the old salary cap, they were under the cap. Under the new post-COVID salary cap, they needed to make cuts. And so they've had a number of losses with Bud Dupree, with they've released Williams. They, again, like we talked about, Hilton going to Cincinnati. So it's going to be interesting. But on the positive side, Mike Tomlin still has never had a losing season. And the outlook is always bright in Pittsburgh because that is a fact. He's never had a losing season.
Yeah, Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger is a great connection. You know what I mean? So I think what Pittsburgh last year, I mean, they finished the season a little cold. They started out hot and then sort of kind of cooled off.
A little cold?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of flamed out, man.
They went from being the best team in the league to losing to the Browns.
I mean, but the Browns is solid, though, bro. I mean, the Browns are solid.
Again,
I mean, I hate to say it, but the Browns is a solid squad.
They're
no longer laughable.
If you look at the circumstances, the Steelers got burned by other teams' COVID issues.
Right.
And so having to take an 18-day pause in the middle of the season because Tennessee had COVID problems and then Baltimore had COVID problems.
Yeah, that kind of messed them up, that whole little string of games.
Forced to play 3 games in 16 days. That messed up the season.
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm not really saying that as far as it's their fault.
Only team without a bye week. They lost their bye week because of that.
They did. I mean, they're still professional. They still should know how to adjust to that. But my short and skinny on Pittsburgh is, I mean, I think they just couldn't run the ball. I mean, they did not run the ball. The elephant in the room is they could not run block. I don't know what these guys were doing. You can't have a plus 30-year-old QB, I mean, just dropping back the pass every single play. And then teams caught on to him after that Washington game, which was their first loss. I mean, all you had to do is get up in their faces. Big Ben was doing those, passing the ball under 10 yards. And he was not throwing down the field, and that's what happened. Teams caught on to it, like, all right, we're going to get our DBs in your faces. We're not going to let you. We're going to have to make you throw over 10 yard and make those throws. And they struggled with it. So a lot of the teams they beat early in the season, they had a soft schedule in the first. Their back half of their schedule was a little bit tougher. I'll say that, but they did beat some good teams at the beginning, of that run. But I mean, Pittsburgh. I mean, they got they brought in they got the receiver back, Juju Smith-Schuster. He was on the open market for a little bit, but wasn't. I mean, what they have? What Baltimore was interested. I mean, nobody's really wants to sign out, with Baltimore, just because of, the way they run their offense. That's where receivers go to die. It's just off their scheme. But anyway, I mean, they brought back Juju Smith-Schuster. They still got Chase Claypool. He's a great young talent. This guy is amazing. Like, he's huge. He's big. He's fast. He's strong. He mauls people. I mean, he's just an overall football player. He's like a big Heinz Ward, and he's faster. So you got him. And then the defense is always, I mean, they got those key pieces along the defensive line. They got T.J. Watt. Oh, go ahead.
And Alualu having a change of mind and saying no to Jacksonville, coming back to Pittsburgh with a big move.
Oh, yeah, the old man, the old DT. So he's he's coming back.
One of the top run stoppers in the league.
Yeah, he is solid. I mean, he ain't no Vita Vea now. He ain't Vita Vea. Shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
When he was out, they struggled running. They struggled stopping the run. When he was in, Steelers had the best run defense in the league.
Did he play in that playoff game with the Browns?
No, he was hurt. He was hurt.
That's a telling sign, because they just, I was like, man, like, they need somebody.
So he got hurt. So in the game at Baltimore, first half Baltimore had no yards rushing when he was in. He gets hurt. The backup, the two young guys go in, and they start running like crazy until Lamar had 3 turnovers and the Steelers win.
Right.
But that game was the one game that was super telling, with him versus without him.
Yeah.
And so, interesting story. He was on his way to sign his contract in Jacksonville, and then had a COVID scare and missed his flight, and got a call from Cam Hayward and Tuitt, and changed his mind. Told Jacksonville, I changed my mind. So he signed a 2-year contract in Pittsburgh.
Nice. I mean, there's not going to be a ton of veteran players that are going to sign with Jacksonville just because of the whole new college football coach thing and Urban
Anybody
Meyer.
Can be bought. They gave him.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few guys. They got Griffin, and we'll get to Jacksonville in another show. But there's not you're not going to get some of the really really top guys. They're just ready to win. But I think with Pittsburgh, I think if they get an offensive lineman, I think they got the 24th overall pick in the first round.
They fired Randy Fichtner, so that was beautiful. And then they have Matt Canada as the new
he's the OC
coordinator.
Okay,
yeah. And so he's the new OC. They fired the offensive line coach, promoted Aaron Glenn, former player, to become the new offensive line coach. So
right.
Those are big differences because, he was in love with the short passing game, and that is not the Pittsburgh way. Yeah,
it's not. I mean, they got to get back to running the football. I mean, they're linking them a lot to this offensive tackle out of Texas, Samuel Uzmi, and then probably Elijah was a Molden out of Washington, a cornerback, because they do need cornerback help. But one thing about Pittsburgh, man, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be a tough out, and as long as Mike Tomlin's there and Ben Roethlisberger's there, and they do a good job of putting talented teams on the field each and every week. That's incredible, man. I mean, there's nothing to scoff at. There's just they're probably a top 3 organization in the league, maybe even in sports. Great organization. Pittsburgh is
3 coaches in 60 years.
Yep. There you go. I mean, they got Bill Cowher, and then they transitioned to another great coach.
Chuck Noll.
Chuck Noll, yeah.
1960 to 1990, Bill Cowher 90 to 2003, and then Tomlin until now.
Amazing.
That's it. The history of the Steelers coaches. Amazing.
There you go. But good stuff, fellas. Let's move on to a little bit of NBA, man. So, NBA, I know we want to chat a little bit about parity in the NBA. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with the Brooklyn Nets and all of these I mean, they're just building an all-star squad, an old all-star squad. They signed LaMarcus Aldridge. Well, not signed, but traded for.
What do you think about all these buyouts? They want to go to Brooklyn or L.A. Everybody who gets bought out.
I just don't like it, man. I mean, I'm a young dude, but I mean, I guess I got an old soul. Like I just don't like, and that's one reason I like football. Football is kind of washed and watered down for me. But with NBA, I mean, these guys they just get on these teams and they just want to ride along for the win, man. I just don't like that. Like even when dudes like go to the basket, like give them a hard foul. Like I mean, I have an old soul. You know, man. It's my take on the NBA. I just don't like it how they just all want to link together. Everybody shake each other's hand. I know. I want to see that Michael Jordan tenacity. I want to cut your throat. I want to score 60 on you. You feel me? And you never like each other. That type of thing. So
between Aldridge to Brooklyn or Drummond to the Lakers, which one do you think is the better move?
LaMarcus Aldridge.
I don't know. I think
without a doubt.
I don't know. I would say Drummond. I mean, just because the fact that LaMarcus Aldridge is a good piece, but I think Drummond helps out the Lakers because that's their only chance to beat a Brooklyn Nets squad that's so guard heavy. Like they're not gonna beat them at guard play, but they can definitely beat them on the block. I mean, Drummond's a big dude. Can't nobody on Brooklyn guard AD in the post. But yeah, man. I mean, that's just my take on it.
So yeah, he looks like he's Portland LaMarcus. I mean, he's really just initially first game just came out aggressive, offensively, aggressive defensively. He looks motivated. He's trying to get a ring.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my take on it. I just don't like how these guys, they don't want to play against each other. They want to play with each other. They just want to play alongside each other rather than go at each other's throats.
Well, I mean, again, like you were saying, it's really the way of the world. Everybody's trying to ride the coattails and get an easy ring.
Shout out to LeBron for starting that. Didn't start the threes. Didn't start the big three.
Or the Celtics too with Paul Pierce, KG, and Ray.
I think they're the originators of it. I mean, with KG and Ray Allen, and they're the originators. I mean, LeBron was the second, but he did it consistently over time. But I mean, they were the originators of it, huh?
Because LeBron was kind of a little different with his. It was planned out. Oh, we're gonna all go here
at the Olympics.
Yeah. Like Celtics kind of like it wasn't necessarily Paul Pierce and KG talking about like, yeah, come over here. You know, it was like the trade star spiraling, like, oh yeah, this works. We can put this team together. Mm-hmm. LeBron orchestrated it. That's the difference. Orchestrated completely.
He GM'd it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of like different. Nonetheless, I do miss the times where it was teams were even. This season was looking phenomenal because it was like 2 stars to each team.
Yeah,
and now that kind of got ruined. So, I mean, all in all, top competition is what really matters. So I like it. I like that that we're going to see the next actually give somebody some go, whomever they end up playing in the finals.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like I said, I just want parity. I just want, I shouldn't have to. Be like, okay, the Wizards are playing. They have no stars. They got Bradley Beal and Russell washed up, Russell Westbrook, that type thing. Or you look at these other teams, like even your team, Detroit, man. I mean, they got nobody. I mean, I just want to see competitive games. Fun games with stars going at each other. I don't want to see these guys shaking hands and smiling all the time, saying good play, good shot. Like, no, man, Like, really go at it. You know what I mean? They go to the basket, foul them. Foul the fuck out of them, I do, like I said, I like Draymond Green. He's just like a blast from the past for me. The way he plays on the court, I just like it. He's one of those last guys that are out there that has that true competitive nature and who's not friendly. He's a ball player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that. I mean, I like WBK Westbrook, like I said, I like how he plays and as a competitor. Mm-hmm. But I mean, bro, it's just not. I'm a bottom line guy. Y'all gonna hear me say that constantly. Bottom line guy. It just doesn't translate to wins, no matter what. And I used to think all the time, but he's got what? Think about how Westbrook played with Kevin Durant, James Harden, twice. It's like. Now you have Bradley Beal. Granted, the Wizards wasn't doing anything, and the Wizards haven't been good in God knows how long. Maybe since they were the Bullets.
No. They had Gilbert Arenas, baby. Hibachi.
Penis Arenas.
Come on,
Get
man.
out of here.
Nah,
here.
come on, bro. Nah, I ain't gotta let you disrespect my man.
Nah.
That's
out of here.
he would cook you. He would bake you.
He would cook you too. He would bake you too, and he had the strap in the too.
Literally, bro. He would.
And then that short run with Paul Pierce.
Yeah, they had
in the playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, they had a solid loss. But them years with Gilbert, I ain't gonna let you do that because they held down LeBron into a game 7. I mean, if they would have got past LeBron, I mean, the sky was the limit for them. They had a solid squad with Anton Jameson and Caron Butler, and those guys. It was a solid squad. But yeah, man, go ahead, Z. Go ahead.
Yeah, that team, and then the team with the 5 starters with Wall, Beal, Gortat.
Oh yeah.
And then Trevor Ariza.
Yeah, they were all right.
That was, I mean, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and near and dear to our hearts, Paul Pierce. I call Gabe.
Oh, classic. Yeah, that's a classic. Classic.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, like I said, we start off the show with that. So, I mean, we got Paul and, and all of that beginning of the show. But, I mean, like I said, I just want parity and I just don't want to turn on games and these teams are getting blown out. But let's move forward.
Any dark horse teams you think can jump in?
Like for the finals race?
Yeah, like maybe a Phoenix or a Denver or a Philadelphia or a Milwaukee.
Oh, I think the 76ers are not a dark horse. I think if Embiid comes back, and this just leads me to the next, topic of conference. I think if he didn't get hurt, he's the MVP. Embiid was an absolute beast all season long. I mean, I haven't seen nothing like that in the post in a long, long time. Like, he got his big ass down on the block. He was stopping shooting jump shots. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I was sick of seeing his big ass down at the 3-point line, bro. I'm like, you're too big, you're too talented. Go to work. You're too strong, man. I mean,
and then dominant defensively as well.
Exactly.
I mean,
he's always been good defensively, though.
Yeah,
I'll give him that without a doubt.
Yeah. So I mean,
who are your other favorites MVP wise so far?
So I like Embiid. I like. I think that's Harden. Joker's kind of cooled off a little bit. James Harden's kind of heating up because with KD being out, he's going back to Houston Rockets. James Harden, where he's putting up 40+ points a night. He's passing the ball a lot more. So I like James. But my like I said, with Embiid out, man, I mean, that's my guy. I would probably say James Harden, between James Harden and Jokic.
So when you look at the numbers between the two of them, so James Harden, of course, Nets first in the East, 26.4 points a game, 11.4 assists, and almost 9 rebounds a game. And then Jokic, 26.9 points a game, 11 rebounds a game, and 8.5 assists, so almost 9 assists as well. So their numbers are almost identical.
Right, and Jokic is a big man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, now if you look at team success, the Nuggets are currently 5th in the West.
Yeah.
Versus the Nets, who are first, with basically KD and Kyrie not consistently playing.
Yeah.
James has been carrying it for him.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, James has been carrying it for him, and like I said, I can't really say a bad thing about James. I mean, he demanded the trade out of Houston. He got his wish, and now he's playing with his boys. He's playing with KD and Kyrie out in Brooklyn, and the Nets are just loaded in that backcourt, and now in the front court. But as far as MVP right now, like I said, I just got James over the Joker. Jay, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's hard. I mean, it's not really. Because Joker, I mean, I'm going with Harden. I'm going with James.
Yeah.
I'm going with James.
So, yeah. James voted for himself. If you saw that press conference.
I saw it. You got to. You got to have, hey, if nobody got faith in you, you got to have faith in yourself, right? You know?
It was just caught everybody off guard. I think me. Yeah.
Got to throw it out there.
But it's going to be a great run as they head down to playoff time. It's gonna be exciting. Great games. LaMarcus Aldridge kind of getting integrated in the Nets offense.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be fun to watch because even without one of the big three playing, they're still dominating teams. I mean,
I know.
And they're only improving defensively, so it's impressive.
It is impressive. I mean, they're going to be a great team to watch down the stretch. And I hate to keep talking about the Nets on every show. You know what I mean? But they're just so dominant. And it's just amazing that they have all these great pieces around them. But, all right. Good stuff for NBA, fellas. So let's move on and close out the show. Let's talk about a little bit about our bets, of the week. Hey, if you listened to last show, I gave you a bet. I don't know if you played it. If you played it, you cashed. I think I told you guys to take the Bucks money line or even the spread over the Los Angeles Lakers. Like I said, if you listen to me and you did it, you cashed and you won big dollars. But if you didn't, I mean, if you let it go by the wayside, there's nothing I can do for you. But to piggyback off of that bet, like I said, I'm going to move to a game here actually tomorrow night. So I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks again. The Milwaukee Bucks will be playing the Portland Trail Blazers. It's a West Coast game. They're on that West Coast trip. And if you can remember, they started off, they played the Clippers, and they lost that one. Then they played LA, and they beat them. And then tomorrow night they'll be playing the Portland Trail Blazers in Portland. So I got them. I'm really looking at the money line. The money line looks like nothing right now, guys. Like, I think it's minus 160, and the spread's only 3.5. This is for the Bucks with Giannis. I understand Detroit. I'm not going to disrespect Portland. I know they got Dame.
Portland has been hot.
Yeah, they've been hot. But do you really think? I feel comfortable laying big dollars on the Bucks money line tomorrow night on the West Coast to win it. So I like that game. And then another game I was looking at would be on looks like it's April 3rd. April 3rd. So I'm looking at that game. I'm looking at the Dallas Mavericks to beat the Washington Wizards in Washington. I know we're a DMV based podcast, but being from the DMV don't pay my bills. You feel me? So can you hear me? Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think
hopefully Beal's back. That's going to be.
Yeah, he's been sitting out a few games, right?
Yeah, he's been out last 3 games.
Yeah, so if you keep
please come back.
Yeah, if he plays, I just think Luka's going to go.
Yeah, Luka versus Beal is going to be exciting. Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch.
It's going to be exciting.
I just need for the Wizards to win, so Detroit doesn't get a worse pick. Or better.
Oh, they got what you got? You guys have their pick or something?
Well, no, I think the top, some of the worst teams. The top, I think.
More ping pong balls in the lottery.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You're right.
I hate the way they do that shit. Man. Like, why don't they just do it like the NFL draft? Like, the worst team gets the first pick. But
and then on that point, Cade Cunningham announced he's coming out today.
Oh, did it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's kind of expected. Sir. It's kind of expected. Though.
We already knew that, though. Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah, I guess. So, how you guys feeling about with your bets? So mine are Milwaukee tomorrow night, either spread or money line. Guys, come on. Like I said, I gave you one last week. I gave you a winner. Listen to me. The Bucks tomorrow night, minus 3.5 money line, and then I like the Mavericks. I don't see the money line being bad or the spread. Big Z and J, go ahead. What are your bets?
From my perspective, first off, Final Four, Gonzaga. I'm all in. I want to see Gonzaga play Baylor. Baylor has really solid guards, 4 deep, but Gonzaga's just special.
They're a juggernaut, yeah.
And so that's definitely, I picked them at the beginning of the tournament. They're still my pick to win it all. NBA-wise, I'm going to go to Saturday night, and I'm looking at the Sixers over Minnesota. I am looking at the Blazers over the OKC Thunder. And I am Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's out for a month, so they're going to be struggling. And then I am looking at Utah over the Orlando Magic.
Gotcha.
That's anybody
then
over the Magic.
yeah.
Magic, big trash.
And then Sunday, the Magic on a back-to-back. I'll take Denver over the Orlando Magic on Sunday coming up. So they got Utah on Saturday, Denver on Sunday.
All right, AZ, let me ask you this, man, because I know you're a big fade to Houston. Is the fade the Rockets thing still on, or is it off?
It's still on. They won one
Gotcha.
game, but they went back to their losing ways. Yeah, they find new ways to lose every game. So on the hockey side, Buffalo Sabres finally won a game. They had lost 18 in a row. They finally won one game. But they got lucky. The streak is over, but
Yes.
fade the Sabres, fade the Rockets, fade the
sir.
OKC Thunder now without
Yes,
Shea
sir.
Gilgeous-Alexander and Orlando Magic.
I get that.
What you looking at, Jay?
All right, so since we're gonna talk about tomorrow, I'm gonna say there's an interesting one. I'm looking at numbers. I probably would go with Phoenix money line, of course. I think that's
I like that
pretty.
bet.
I think that's pretty easy one. I'm not sorry, not money. Yeah, money line. I'm going with that. That's easy. I'm doing some digging on Milwaukee Bucks. They are playing against the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep, that's my bet. Play it, baby. Play it. Win some money, man.
That's a little bit too close for me. I'm gonna sit that out. Portland covers 61% of the time when they win, and Milwaukee covers 63% of the time. So I'm gonna sit that one out. Let's see. So right now I'm looking at Phoenix for sure, fading that tomorrow. I'm liking the Hornets versus Pacers, honestly.
Solid game.
Yeah, but they're kind of falling out my good grace. So I'm really watching that, especially without LaMelo Ball. But you know what the team I'm betting against money line? Memphis and Timberwolves.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Boy.
Yeah, Timberwolves always lose with Memphis kind of always covering. They're kind of scary. They're not in the top or upper like as far as wins and stuff like that, and winning against pretty much win or lose money line. But that may look like an interesting one. It's kind of fishy because it's a 7 spread, so I'm looking at that very, very closely. I'm looking at it very, very closely. But as of right now, the media picks. That's what I'm looking at, bearing no injuries, of course.
Right. All right, fellas. Hey, great show, man. I'm gonna wrap up here. So, as always, guys, thanks for listening. Appreciate the support. Continue to subscribe. All major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube page is up. Appreciate all the support. Continue to keep listening. I know we did the AFC North this show. We'll probably stay on the AFC side again. Maybe talk AFC South, AFC East. We'll see. But good show. Thanks for listening. For Big Z and Jay, I'm your host, Rome. Fellas, we out.
Yes, sir.